dramatic fashion, Caden Sorrell.
I guess technically both games they came from behind, did they not?
Yep. Caden Sorrell's magic. So happy we got our own video of that. Just so cool to see it happen. And then for them to close it out.
Well, you're down to your last out, right?
In the eighth.
And in the eighth, you're right. And, you're thinking, if they could just get something going. And you get an excuse me in check swing. I guess what a check swing, but excuse me, infield hit from Lavalette because he's fast enough to
get you a run.
Outrun. And it gets you a run. So you get, and then a flare into right field from Hensler. And then there was no doubt about.
Didn't it feel like it was going to happen? Like this guy's about to go freaking yard.
Yeah, you're definitely sitting there trying to be positive. And I was at the game, and you see it come off the bat, and you're like, hey, that might go. And it keeps going, and then I lose it. I can't find the ball. So I'm watching the outfielder. I'm watching that left fielder, and I'm like, that's out of here. It was just amazing. If your name was Caden or Hayden, you had a good week.
Yeah.
A good weekend. And if you're a starting pitcher.
For either team. So LSU
starting pitching was great.
So, there's a lot made of how many times A&M struck out against LSU.
Yeah.
I think it was 30. Is that right?
Yeah, I would believe that.
And LSU struck out 28 times. So, hello. And who won the series?
Your Texas A&M Aggies.
And remember when A&M went to Arkansas, the talk was about the Arkansas pitching staff. By the way, they're great. Just ask Texas.
Yeah.
The Arkansas pitching staff is great. But A&M came away. We were told about the LSU pitching staff, and they lived up to everything we talked about on the Baseball Bunch on Friday. But so did the Aggie starting pitching.
I'm not sure that's not the most impressive series win yet. And look, I get it was at home, and the other, they're at Arkansas and at Tennessee, and the bats came out. But I'm talking about just guts and fight and tenacity.
The vibes this weekend, obviously, Caden Sorrell, the heroics, the pitching performance, the whole thing, just kind of wrap it up into an opening statement of how the weekend went.
Yeah, I thought we grinded and we were just tough, man, tough. Like it was a gritty 3 games. If you understand our ballpark, like a lot of people do, like a north wind and a south wind can drastically change the game. And it wasn't like a north like early on in the year, but Saturday was tough, and it was really came down to you got to really pitch it, you got to play defense, and you got to get the hit, and it's usually like the hit, or you put some balls in play and they find holes, and we did that 2 out of the 3 games, and that's really what it came down to because both teams pitched outstanding. Our guys were awesome. Their guys were a lot to handle, man. Like they were really, really good, and we matched them, and in the end, we made the play. Just a credit to our guys for how resilient they are.
When you're going into a doubleheader against Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, like you did on Saturday with that north wind, like when you go in and you never want to completely change what you do offensively, but in the back of your mind, are you going like, we may have to do some things that we're not accustomed to doing to score some runs against these guys?
Yeah, I mean, as a message to our team is like we early on in the year when we had wins like that, we weren't you're not trying to fly out, right? You're not trying, but the message was, it's like, don't go out there against these guys trying to do too much because you can't. Like, not only the just conditions are not going to allow it, especially in the first game. It's like, and we really want to drive Anderson's pitch count up because he's well over 100 the weekend before, and we did such a good job of laying off those just really tight balls and like drove his pitch count up, wanted to get into the bullpen, and I thought the guys did a really good job. And then Ianson on the flip side, it's pretty tough to drive his pitch count up because he was just filling it up and throwing some. He's one of the best. Both those guys are 2 of the best I've ever seen. But Ianson on that day, that was really, really tough. But you know what? Our pitchers kept us in the game. Royo popped a homer, and we still had a chance. So
I didn't fully give up on them, but that Tennessee first game, I was like, there's no way they make the tournament. That's what I thought after the no-hitter, right? And now all they've done is just completely flipped the script.
9-5 in these series. Excuse me, since that game. 9-5 since the no-hit run rule against Tennessee, and 4 of those 5 losses are by 1 run. And so, and it's against elite competition.
Yeah.
You talk about 4 of the 5 series are against teams ranked in the top 2. And the one series that you didn't have a team ranked that highly, you swept at home. And look, they deserve, the coaching staff, the kids, the training staff, everybody deserves such a tremendous amount of credit for just continuing to row the boat. And you have stormy seas, high waves, high wind, and it looks like it's about to topple over, and they just keep rowing.
Yeah.
And Richard and I last night were actually looking at, give me your top 5 moments of the season so far. And they've all just about happened since that no-hitter against Tennessee.
Are there any before?
I would make the argument that Jace breaking the record
I can give you that.
would have been not number 1, but probably in my top 5.
Yeah.
But you just kind of go through it, and you look at the TK catch in Tennessee, the Luke Jackson outing in Arkansas.
Yep.
Sorrell, obviously the Kent homer against South Carolina. Sorrell's homer against South Carolina. Sorrell's homer the other day. Weston Moss's performance yesterday. All of these moments have all happened in the last 5 weeks. And so this is a different ball club than what we saw for the first month and a half of the season, no question. The problem is they dug themselves such a hole that when they started building their ladder to climb out of it, they paused last week. You could start to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And you paused last week, maybe even went down a rung. And so now this weekend, you flipped it and you made, some positive steps to get out of it, but you're not out of it yet.
I thought that was the best pitching I'd seen A&M face this year. Obviously you had Liam Doyle in that first game against Tennessee, and he threw a gem and a no-hitter. But Texas all weekend threw some real arms at you, and that was without, that was a week after losing their ace and Jared Spencer. So what they brought to the mound was really impressive. Maybe Liam Doyle's performance, Volantis for Texas out of the bullpen were the 2 most impressive. I don't know, though. Even though Doyle threw a no-hitter, those 2 LSU pitchers, and I know the game 1 starter is projected, they're saying he'll be a really high MLB pick, maybe a top 10 pick. I thought the guy in game 2 was damn near unhittable.
Yeah.
And, I know Brauning was up there, probably harassing some of the scouts, and they telling him that's the best stuff he's had all year. And their freshman on yesterday was pretty nasty too. So, and their arms out of the pen. I thought their pitching was elite. Nate Yeske does a tremendous job. This is 2 weeks in a row where you went in with a red-hot A&M lineup after Arkansas, South Carolina, the last 2 games against Tennessee. Mm-hmm. They were white-hot their last 8 SEC games. And you ran into, the last 2 A&M pitching coaches, Max Weiner and Nate Yeske, and there's a reason that they were hired here. They're elite. And so you ran into some real pitching again this weekend, and they did a great job of shutting A&M down. But here's the thing. What Texas A&M did on the mound in 2 of 3 games against Arkansas, in all 3 games against Texas, and then again all weekend. Patton, it was Patton, Lampkin, and Prager. Prager, I thought, was the story of the weekend for me.